Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and I've got two stories to share with you in this very latest Moon Lambo hot jam. Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen apparently wants to fix Bitcoin. Now, look, as XRP holders, we're fortunate. We're fortunate to be in a position where all XRP that will ever exist already does exist. It was created at the inception of the blockchain. Now, Bitcoin, on the other hand, continues to face serious issues, let's say. The blockchain is slow, transactions can be outrageously expensive, there are serious scaling issues which may or may not be solvable, and Bitcoin is an energy hog. You know, the energy hog narrative continues to worsen, actually, as it won't be until the year 2140, over 100 years from now, that the last Bitcoin ever is mined. Now, look, as XRP holders, I'm thankful we don't have to worry about these things. Yes, the XRP ledger, not pretending that it hasn't had problems in the past. I've been highlighting some of them recently, but the problems with the XRP ledger pale in comparison to that which Bitcoin developers have to deal with on a daily basis. It's not even close. And so Ripple co-founder Chris Larsen is proposing a dramatic change to the Bitcoin blockchain. And he wrote a blog about this, so I'm going to cover it. Now, there's also this from crypto media outlet You Today. If XRP is a security, list it on U.S. exchange, says Bitfury CEO to Congress. So he's referencing Brian Brooks. Now, that's a topic I actually did talk about in a video yesterday, but I want to expand upon it, and there's more details specifically within this article I want to highlight. And also, because I find it funny, I'm going to highlight that this article is at odds against this the second article from You Today. It's written by two different people, but from the same platform, You Today. They contradict one another, and they were published about 4 hours apart. So I'll explain what I'm talking about, but before going any further, I do want to be clear that I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. Let's go ahead and start with this one. XRP being a security? Well, of course, we know XRP is not a security, but even if so, do you think that if that were the case, it should just never be allowed to be listed on an exchange? Because that's kind of silly, obviously. Well, check this out. In a recent meeting with Congress, crypto CEOs from various companies tried to convince Congress to separate crypto from the traditional financial framework and treat it like another type of asset. The Bitfury manager brought up the XRP dilemma directly to congressmen and women. The former CLO of Coinbase, Brian Brooks, suggested that Congress list XRP on any legal U.S. exchange if regulators like the SEC are willing to treat it like a security without limiting its functionality and work. So then you got to pause and just sit there and think, okay, so who registered it? Like literally today, with the decentralized nature of the XRP ledger, it would be offensive for anyone to try and register. Like, even if Ripple, they wouldn't do this, but if they tried to register XRP, I'm like, whoa, I'm sorry, who the hell made you God? Like, no, Ripple, you are a participant and an important one within the XRP ecosystem, but no, you cannot register as a security something that the whole world owns and is decentralized. Hell no. Absolutely not. And they wouldn't try and do that, but it's kind of the point, that just to illustrate how silly all of this is. Piece continues. Brooks has used the XRP example to point out the existing issue with putting digital or cryptocurrency assets under the traditional financial regulatory framework. In order to treat cryptocurrencies like securities, and listen up, that's basically what I was getting at, a regulator would have to gain full control over a digital asset to protect U.S. investors, which is impossible due to the decentralized nature of some assets. Exactly. How? Nobody can register XRP as a security because nobody controls it. No central entity. It's a collection of entities and people throughout the entire world. That is the case. SEC is such a freaking joke. And so the piece continues. According to Brooks, regulators and officials should treat digital assets as what they are instead of pushing them through the boundaries of currently existing definitions. Digital assets have a value that people are ready to pay for, and they also represent some kind of underlying activity, the Bitfury CEO states. Brooks has also added that Congress should let crypto in, referring to making currently existing regulations more tolerant toward crypto and stopping the limits on its functionality in the economic space, since they do not pose any threat to the existing economy of the United States. And then they wrap up by noting the following. XRP itself has not reacted to the shout-out in Congress by the crypto industry representative and has been continuously trading in the same 85-cent range as previously. Which is why, and I don't want to read this next article, there's a fair bit of overlap, but look at the headline because it's at odds against the way that they just wrapped up that other article. XRP price reacts by adding 15% to its value as former Coinbase CLO Brian Brooks tells Congress to let them in. So there you go. One article saying no, XRP price hasn't reacted, and that actually was true in the moment. It certainly didn't jump up as a result of what he said. And then there's this headline saying, hey, XRP jumped 15% because of Brian Brooks, which is not true. I'm telling you, man. Crypto media, God love them, they're all a bunch of C students, man. Like, they're just like, I'm sorry, nothing personal against any of these people, but damn. Like, and I'm appreciative of the work they do, but it's just the caliber of it. The broken sentences, the misspelled words, all of this, and like these are their jobs, right? I mean, are they just side hustles? Like, I don't know what's going on, but it's not always as professional as would be ideal. I don't know. Like, for me, I'm running a YouTube channel called Moon Lambo with a silly-ass name, but this is a freaking hobby, you know? Like, all right, I don't know, I'm just saying. All right, into the next topic now. Chris Larsen wanting to fix Bitcoin. How about that? And so he wrote this piece today. It's titled, Bitcoin Mining Stocks Could Rally on Proof-of-Work Change. As the climate crisis worsens, the world is responding on many fronts. Governments are just part of the action, as we saw yesterday in the hearings in the House. Regulators and policymakers are taking crypto's carbon impact seriously. More encouraging is the dramatic increase in private businesses and foundations addressing the problem. One of the more contentious climate debates has been the legacy problem of Bitcoin's proof of work, or POW for short, method and its enormous energy use. This debate has intensified as China, once the dominant Bitcoin mining region, banned the practice earlier this year. China's ban resulted in an explosive increase in U.S. mining operations, including a growing list of publicly traded mining companies. Questions and letters from policymakers show that they are looking deeper into the practices of these U.S. miners. Globally, we've also seen countries like Iceland and Kazakhstan cap the amount of energy that Bitcoin miners can use due to energy shortages. Now, the emerging solution among climate experts is that Bitcoin's code needs to be changed to a low-energy consensus algorithm like those used by nearly all other major crypto protocols. Let me just pause and note. And look, I'm pro-Bitcoin. I'm still long Bitcoin. But I'm going to just call it like I see it. I'm going to speak truth. Bitcoin is the least sophisticated cryptocurrency in existence. And I say that in a world where Ethereum Classic and Dogecoin exist, right? And no offense to anybody that holds it. It was like, so I don't hold Dogecoin, but I actually do hold Ethereum Classic, and I think it's just awful. I think it's just absolute trash. But so I'm just saying, though, Bitcoin is the least sophisticated in terms of the way it's coded. Anyway, Chris Larsen continues, though. For example, while Bitcoin uses the energy of approximately 12 million U.S. homes per year, other methods could drive that to fewer than 100 U.S. homes. Ethereum, the second largest cryptocurrency, is in the process of doing just that, which would make Bitcoin a climate outlier within a $2 to $3 trillion and growing industry. One challenge of making such a code change is the assumed opposition by Bitcoin miners. And by the way, so this is actually an interesting perspective because I certainly would have assumed that Bitcoin miners would not be such fans of this, but Chris Larsen actually does see a path forward for this. Check it out. He writes, especially given the enormous and growing investment in U.S. mining operations. Notable U.S. listed mining stocks include Stronghold Digital Mining, Hive Blockchain Technologies, Cannon, Riot Blockchain, BIT Mining, Bit Digital, Bitfarms, and Marathon Digital Mining. Why wouldn't these miners resist any attempt that would supposedly make their investments worthless? Might sound counterintuitive, but shareholders in Bitcoin miners should be very happy with a move away from proof of work, as any new code proposal would almost certainly have to include lucrative incentives to gain their support. Now, today, the Bitcoin network rewards 900 Bitcoin per day to miners based on their relative hash rate, which requires computing power and therefore massive energy use. Approximately 2.1 million additional Bitcoin are to be distributed through the year 2140. So any code change away from proof of work would still need to establish a method to distribute these coins. The least disruptive code proposal would simply take a snapshot of the current hash rate of existing miners and then reward miners on a pro rata hash power basis through 2140. Existing miners would simply have rights to future Bitcoin rewards without the need to expend additional energy or make additional investments in mining rigs. These rights could be subject to staking rules to further secure the network. This is fair because it compensates existing miners for their commitment and risk-taking in support of the Bitcoin ecosystem. I'll just pause and ask, this far into this, anybody feeling happy that, we're more so pro XRP? I mean, I don't know if I can speak for everyone out there. I'm assuming if you're listening, you're probably of a similar mindset. Are you happy that we're in the XRP community rather than just exclusively some sort of Bitcoin community where all the maximalists hang out? Because we don't have to deal with this crap. Now that we've got our own set of problems, especially with the SEC going after Ripple, but I think that'll get settled. And there's going to be a path forward for any sort of potential scaling issues with XRP and an XRP ledger. So I'm not particularly concerned for the long haul, but when it comes to Bitcoin, man, I have serious questions. Chris Larsen continues, under such a proposal, miners would gain additional economic benefit, gaining the same revenue with substantially less operating costs. More importantly, they would gain valuable rights to all future rewards that could be held in tokens. Yeah, so look, even if this is a good idea, and I'd want to hear the opposing side before I have a firm opinion, like that's just the way I work. I don't just hear one side of a story on any topic in life, then feel like I have a firm opinion. I'm like, okay, that's compelling perhaps. Now, what's your opponent say? That's how I operate in life, on any topic. And so I still kind of suspect that the Bitcoin maxis out there would not be such fans of this. It doesn't help that it's coming from somebody that co-founded Ripple, because the Bitcoin maxis, they hate Ripple and they hate XRP. But I have a suspicion that they're not going to want to change anything having to do with functionally how Bitcoin works. I just have a suspicion right there. Chris continues though. How might such a system work? Consider Marathon Digital, which runs 8% of the current global hash rate, earning 75 Bitcoin per day as of November 1st, 2021. Under such a code change, Marathon would continue to earn 8% of daily Bitcoin rewards, but would not need to expend any energy to receive this reward. Marathon's current variable mining costs were $6,235 per Bitcoin, according to its latest 10Q. And it earned 2,516 Bitcoin year-to-date through November 1st, 2021. Therefore, its pre-tax income should increase by this much immediately. A longer term, it also saves huge amounts avoiding the fixed costs of building and operating mining equipment. Yeah, so there's this though, and this as I read through this the first time, something that popped in my mind, I was kind of like, okay, interesting idea for sure. But what about people and businesses that maybe don't even exist yet, that in the future would have wanted to jump in and create a business around this? If you're just talking about the businesses that are in it now, they'll like it and they can move forward, move to this new model. Okay, and that would probably be fine for them. Perhaps they'd agree. Maybe they would, but maybe they still wouldn't like it. But even if they do like it, what about everybody else who isn't even alive yet? Who, like, you're kind of taking the opportunity away from them as well. Like, isn't that something to consider? It's just something that popped in my mind the first time I read through this anyway. And does that matter, though? You have to. So if the answer is yes, that's one thing, and then does it matter? That's a whole separate discussion. Like, to what degree is it ethical or not to move forward in such fashion? But anyway, Chris continues. More importantly, Marathon would also enjoy a long-term revenue stream as its right to receive 75 Bitcoin per day, subject to the halving schedule through 2140, amounts to a new asset that could be tokenized and sold to others, including mining pools, funds, or even individuals subject to local regulatory requirements. Now, today, a person wanting to earn Bitcoin could join a mining pool or become a miner, requiring investments in computers and huge amounts of energy. Under this proposal, with the existence of mining reward tokens, someone looking to earn Bitcoin would simply buy such tokens on an exchange, requiring no equipment or energy. These assets could be extremely lucrative to existing miners, especially as Bitcoin goes from its current climate disaster status to a truly green financial technology of the future. In summary, miners should see a change away from proof of work as a net positive for their longevity. While the process to enact these plans with consensus across the Bitcoin community will take time, the benefits far outweigh the risks. So look, at a minimum, an interesting idea. I would very genuinely love to hear what all of you think about that specifically. I don't have a firm opinion. I'd like to see what opponents of this idea would have to say, because that's just a more reasonable way to come to conclusions in life. Just let people hash it out, and then whoever has the most compelling case, then that's how I work in it. Then that's what I believe, or it's what I suspect is accurate. If you have a much stronger, or to any degree a stronger argument, that's the way that I'm going to lean. But just don't make those decisions before hearing the opposing side. And by the way, just in general, I don't think it makes sense to have, like, if you have a firm position on anything, if you can't articulate your opponent's viewpoint on whatever the topic is, you might want to rethink whether or not you should have such a strong opinion about that. If you want to be intellectually honest, which I think is important, I think that's the right way to approach it. Because otherwise, you're just going to look like a idiot stick. You know what I mean? You got such a strong opinion, but like you can't even articulate the opposing side. Like, how are you so confident then? I don't know. So that's just the way I approach stuff in general. All right, I'll wrap up. I'll quit yapping. Let me know what you think, though. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.